Bench Opinions. 3 idiots with amateur analysis.
But you should have seen some of the fucking speciality delicatessen I had there on my flight to Mallorca and back.
What did you have?
You know, Oaks. You know when Oaks wear the same shirt and same pants. You know, like floral, and have face tattoos, and their tattoos on their calves are like of the German eagle. You know, the guys are going to eat some pork there in Mallorca.
Did the Oaks clap when you landed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only in Mallorca though.
Yeah.
I think on the way back they were too comatose.
No, they're done now. They also clapped when we landed. Although that airport in Corfu is wild because you come over ocean. You don't. This plane's already low, and you still haven't seen land yet.
Oh, wait.
And I think the runway must end, and maybe there's like 400 meters or 500 meters before the ocean.
So when we were flying back, we actually drove to the end, and then we did a little U-turn, and I could see out the window. It's the beach, then like a weird I think it's actually a road that goes across where people then stand and watch. Then there's water, and then the runway starts.
Did you guys fly Ryanair?
On the way back.
On the way back, that's good because I wouldn't want to land there with a Ryanair pilot. They usually just drop you out the sky, and then it's like
he landed quite nicely in Berlin.
Oh, that's good.
We had a lot of tailwind. We're coming in hot.
Coming in fast.
But that runway in Corfu is like a road in Limpopo, bro. It's very bumpy.
Greek engineer. No, they
say like when we started, it was like,
no, bro, but the ancient Greeks built those roads well, bro. Why must we change things?
The ancient Greeks did it, and the Greeks haven't done anything since.
100%. Not even with the German money.
The roads in Corfu they're about 2 meters wide, and all hell. Yes.
And you've got rocks coming in from the side, and then like houses have been built at weird angles projecting into the road.
And obviously the buses there drive like they're so confident, so they just steam down the road, and you have to get out of the way. It's nice.
You guys went in a rental car though, bro. Most robust, fastest car in the world.
Drive it like you stole it.
Hyundai i10 there.
Dude, that thing was nippy.
It was nippy, bro. And the thing is, so it took us to drive. I think it was 30 kilometers. It took us an hour. So you're driving slow.
Oh yeah,
it's very slow. Yeah. And Mallorca,
fun, good, good times. We had two thinkers next to each other. There were about
how many of you were there?
About 12 of us, I think, songwriters. So, and we were split between the one guy's house that lives there and the other, James had rented.
What part of Mallorca was it on?
Southeast. Yeah, southeast. Southeast. Sorry.
That's what your brain just said.
Yeah. Southeast. It was nice. It was very nice. The weather was really good because the weather like literally dropped in Berlin to 15, and then on the day I flew out there, and it was like still 30 degrees there. So we went to the beach both evenings. Yeah. Nice. Went to the beach both evenings for the sunset. Super nice. Water's so warm. So it was really nice.
And then during the day, you just write songs.
Just wrote music. Yeah.
Good.
Some of us were set for like three sessions a day.
Yeah.
But most of the time, things sort of overlapped. So you kind of did an average of two sessions a day. So I think I did 6 songs.
How many songs do you think will actually come out of it?
For me, I think most of the guys I write with are really good at finishing stuff. And
nice. Okay. So you think it's like 100% turnover?
I think so, yeah.
Nice. Food-wise, did you cook yourselves or did you guys?
No, actually, we were very fortunate. The one guy that lives there that owns the label, his mother-in-law lives with them as well. And they have a full vegan household though, and the food was incredible. Not that I'm saying vegan food's not good, but it was unreal. It was unreal. I did
good for vegan food.
When I got back on Friday night, I went and I made steak tacos. But that's no sign of how the food was. But I was yearning for a little bit of animal product.
Yes, we got some. So they didn't have lamb. We got some mutton there.
They didn't have lamb.
No, they didn't have lamb at the butcher. So we ate a lot of lamb. We ate great food.
Awesome food.
Klaus ate some feta, or we all ate.
We ordered an appetizer, feta baklava.
And a feta baklava. Is it sweet?
Oh, it's a full-on baklava, but then it's like one of the layers is like full-on slab of feta.
It was unreal.
Cheese.
Wow.
Dude, brilliant.
Yeah.
All right.
Best meal of the holiday.
It's also, just before we start, it's lucky that I'm still sitting here.
Why? What happened?
Oh,
talk to me.
Dude, this guy...
Did you get into a swimming accident?
I'm not going to say what happened. He can tell you the story, but he hasn't shut up about this. Since the moment it happened. The funny thing is, it happened to me first, and he's stolen my thunder and has gone on about it for ages.
The thing is, I almost died. I was attacked by a shark.
A shark?
Okay, it was okay. It was a small shark. We don't know the exact size of it. We don't know if it wasn't a shark or not, but a flippin' fish bit me.
Did it draw blood?
So we were playing Waboba. We were playing Waboba in the shallow water, and suddenly Klaus goes, something bit me, and I'm like, so it's probably stepped on a rock. And then like 2 seconds later, something bit me, but I had like a mosquito bite that I'd scratched open, and the thing nipped me there twice. And on the last day, it nipped me there again, bro.
Same fish.
No, different fish.
Yeah, the fucking Tommy the fish keeps on attacking
my theory is it's one of those flipping oaks, you know, you put your, because we saw it in Corfu in the town there, where you put your feet in the bath there and then they eat all the dead skin off.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
So I think one of them fucking had a Finding Nemo escape situation and went down the drain and made it to the ocean, and now he doesn't know he doesn't have to eat people
It
anymore.
could also be a Russian spy fish.
Ooh, I saw that away on the beluga.
They teach those things. I don't know what the fuck they're doing spying on the two of you, but
Dude, I don't know. So you got to put the world's smallest GoPro on the back of that fish because that was tiny.
all right. But I'm glad you guys made it through that harrowing experience.
Also alive.
A lot of sport to talk to, speak about.
Yes. Spook about.
Spooker?
Speaking Greek, bro. Yes.
Picked it up on holiday. Start with a Rugby Championship. Maybe before we start, because we forgot it last week, or I forgot it last week, just a quick update on the prediction scores there, because I tallied them up from the previous podcast. It's 7-3-3. So we'll get to predictions for next week, but we need him to lose both.
I mean, he is the resident rugby expert amongst us.
He is, but
guys, we're all novices at this. I don't know if any of us can
Look
call
at this. You see
ourselves
this bullshit like this. I'm humble bullshit.
I don't know where this modesty comes from.
He will tell. Don't worry. Off camera. I'm just trying my best, guys. I think as long as everyone,
victory.
as long as everyone has fun, you know.
Yeah.
So the Springboks have split their squad into two. Something they have done before. First squad, I believe, has already left for Argentina.
They arrived yesterday.
Yeah. What's the vibe on the split squads thing?
Well, I mean, they've done it before, so it's nothing new in that regard. It's interesting who they've sent. The way that they've the amount of scrum halves they sent makes me think they're going to play a 5-3 split, because they've sent, instead of Grant Williams, because he's ruled out.
Yeah, so unfortunately,
because he was probably going to start, according to what Rusty says. Morne van den Berg is going in his space. Then they've got Jaden Henriksen and I think it's Kobus Reinach.
Wow, a great trio of scrum halves.
So I think they have to put one of them in.
Yeah.
Which means they were then, I don't think any of them are real utilities. I don't. Like,
that's what you lose with Grant Williams being out, yeah.
Exactly.
I guess it's a pity, yeah.
Kobus Reinach, you could potentially play on the wing because of his speed.
He's quick.
I don't think they would.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen him play wing. And then if you look at the centers that they've sent, they've only sent Jesse and Lucanio, which in my eyes are two outside centers, and none of them are inside centers, but I think they'll probably play Lucanio's inside.
Yeah.
And then you've obviously got Kane and Mooney who can play either or, I guess.
Variety of positions, yeah.
Sasha is there, he can play inside center.
Interesting.
And they've sent Marnie.
Is Sasha going?
Yeah, I think there's an updated squad. Let me double check there quickly.
Oi, I didn't think he was going.
I thought there was an updated...
Maybe.
No, sorry. Utility? No. I'm mistaken. It's just Marnie and Andre.
Yeah.
Interesting. And Marnie gets back into the fold. I think his performances in the Currie Cup have deserved it, but everyone just still talking about it. I mean, it's a good thing that won't go away. Obviously it won't, but I've seen so many tweets, or formerly known as Twitter, posts about people just saying, if the guy could just learn how to kick, if the guy could just learn how to kick, if the guy
It's like an if, you know.
It's crazy, yeah.
But it seems like something that could be fixed if you just probably put a bit of time. And maybe it's not a bad thing that he's out of the limelight now, can work on it, but...
He needs that old man from, what is that ABSA advert back in the day when he had the bucket. Remember that? No, he put a bucket in his one hand. There's this famous advert. You must check it out. South African advert. Where this kid struggles to kick, you know, forlorn, struggles, and then some old coach comes out of the woodworks and says, hold a bucket when you kick. Then he holds a bucket and it fixes, because he's a bit skewed, fixes his balance, and the guy slots it.
Klaus made a good point. Klaus made a good point when we were on holiday. Says someone like Jesse Creel is a great example for Manie Libbok, because he was on the outskirts for so long and couldn't get in just because Lucanio was always ahead of him, and probably a few others as well. And now he's gotten his chance and he's grabbed it with both hands. So I don't think you're ever out of it if you keep up your game. Because I think when he does play, what he brings to the gameplay is really good. His kicking out of hand is also good. It's just his place kicking, which seems to struggle.
I think also, we've spoken about it before, Rusty is just so good at creating a performance-based environment. And that leads to these players always believing that they could get a sniff. I think eventually, the last year of the World Cup, you probably have to be in the reckoning because that's when you start looking with consistency. But if you look back at previous Springbok coaches, Alistair Coetzee had his favourites. Jake White famously also had incredible favourites. I mean, he picked John Smith over Skalk Brits again and again and again to major criticism and was successful. In Heineke Meyer's case, for example, a lot of criticism about his favourites and picking people and playing the style that wasn't even attractive. So I think Rassie, that's another thing that maybe Rassie's just really turned on its head and said, I'm anyone who can play for the Springboks can get into my side. And I think that's a very good thing for our team.
It seems like it's on both sides a lot of balance in the squad we've sent there and the squad we're keeping here, in terms of some people that aren't maybe in the starting lineup, like Mapimpi and stuff going across, and then some exciting talents also staying back here. But it does seem like the squad going there has a few more of the big game players.
I think so, because they're going to not Santa Fe, but what's that place called? Some place that we don't usually go to.
Okay.
I think the last time we played there, we played in those red jerseys.
Oh yeah, I remember bizarre times.
Not the one where Jean de Villiers pushed the oak down into the flippin'
into the moat.
Into the moat.
No,
that was a different stadium. So I know Rusty came out and said no, it's quite a hostile place to go to. So they want
anywhere in Argentina seems like it's hostile.
But he says it's not hostile in terms of like aggression. It's hostile in terms of passion. Like their fans are like super passionate.
Yeah.
They're not like angry towards the Springboks or anything like that.
Just noisy.
Just very.
It's like I think that's probably a similar approach to football. They're just crazy.
They're crazy.
They're just so fanatical about it.
Yeah.
And particularly off the back of beating really just they're second on the table as well, which is insane.
Yeah, and the Springboks have one hand on the trophy, but we also shouldn't speak too soon because of
one loss to Argentina and suddenly
like it's getting close.
World Rugby will be also on our backs, but I think also the problem is I think it's a good step in the bigger context of trying to build a team to win another World Cup, sending two teams, keeping it apart. Funny enough, it's exactly what he did in the World Cup as well. So, playing two different squads for games. I just think there is a massive gap for all the Bok critics to start jumping on our back about arrogance and all this other nonsense if we do lose.
I don't think so, because like as you said, the balance is so well struck that I look at the team and I'm not looking at it saying like, oh, that's a B team that they've sent. No. I'm just like, oh, this is probably how they're going to play this game, or that's the strategy they're probably going to play in that game.
But I think
it's less a and B team.
But I think from a point of, if we lose to someone like Argentina, it'll give the rest of the world the ammunition to say, you guys aren't as good as you think you are, which I think would be bullshit, because I think we've shown it already.
I think that's disrespectful to Argentina, because they've just beaten the All Blacks and they've beaten Australia by the biggest margin that they've ever recorded against Australia.
For sure.
So it's not like the...
Plus, so we know your prediction for later. We need you to predict the Argentina to win.
Argentina's going to win by 20. No.
I'm not that old grumpy sheep farmer that always complains about the Springboks. But you need to put yourself in his shoes. And that man's going to be like, who do you think you are? And I don't want that. So I'm just being very mindful.
I think we're in
I don't think the Australians haven't got any legs to stand on currently. So I wouldn't worry about that.
And it seems like a very blessed age in terms of squad depth, because very few countries around the world could send two such strong teams out and have a legitimate chance of winning.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good... Well, first let's do some predictions. Like I said, 7-3-3 after the last round. I'd listened back to the first podcast and we very wishy-washy just said South Africa by a fine margin, New Zealand by a little bit. So we can't get any scores from that. So it's 7-3-3. So in order for us to still catch Klaus, we need...
Nailed on.
I'll start because I won the last round. Springboks Argentina. In Argentina, I think Springboks by 7.
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand, Australia. I'm not sure where it is. But I think it doesn't matter where it is. I think I'm going to say.
I think it's in New Zealand.
Okay, I'm going to say New Zealand by 15.
Quite conservative.
Yeah, but I saw Joe Schmidt came out and said that they're going to put their heads down so they can give New Zealand a good run. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they they sort of try to pull their socks up, and because it's New Zealand, they just perform a little bit better, but I don't think they've got it in the tank to beat them. So that's my prediction.
Joe Schmidt can say whatever he damn wants, bro. Me, I can also say what I want, bro. Nice for him.
Say what you want then.
I think they have absolutely no chance, and I think the All Blacks will beat them by 25.
Yes.
I don't. You know, I think for you to go to Argentina after terrible results against the Springboks, and the Springboks making it look easy to beat you at home, go to Argentina, manage to turn things around and win, and think, oh, okay, maybe there's a little bit of momentum here, and then get hit by a bus, essentially. I just think that's just so demoralizing. And I think, again, the criticism of the All Blacks is so big back home right now. If it is in New Zealand, or even if it's in Australia, I just think there's such a drive in New Zealand to try and fix what's happened to their side and rugby and the results that they've been having, that I think there's just such this drive, and I just think that the machine's going to be too big. And it's going to be too strong to even give Australia a chance. That's my prediction. And then for the Springbok game, I think the Springboks, I think it's going to be a tough game. I really do. I think it's going to be cagey. I think Rassie will pick a measured approach, because I think if he knows if they win that game, then that's it, you know. And I think that's another skill of Rassie over the years, is been able to sort of look at different approaches and try and make sure you get results. And we've seen it against both the Wallabies and the All Blacks in this Rugby Championship. So I think South Africa by 10, which is still a gap, but I think it'll be a very cagey affair. Yeah.
I think for the New Zealand-Australia game, New Zealand has now been hit twice, and they are going to bounce back big time.
Big time.
Big time. And I don't think Australia has got it in. Besides the fact that New Zealand, since they've been playing with Razor, they've been growing game on, game on, game on.
Yeah.
Now having statistically challenged themselves against currently the best team in the world, and then going to a team that I think is ranked like 6th or 7th.
Yeah.
Did they play Ireland?
No, we're currently ranked 1.
Kidding, because you said the best team.
Oh, you mean Australia? I think Australia are ranked as low as 9th at the moment, aren't they?
So I think they're just going to run wild. And you said 25?
I said 25 points.
I think it's going to be 28.
Okay.
28 points to New Zealand, of course. And you guys already picked the predictions that I wanted to pick for South Africa. So I'll have to say 13
to
South Africa.
Ooh,
I don't think it's going to be cagey, but I think it's going to be... for some reason, I feel like it's going to be a high-scoring game on both sides. I think there will be like at least 40 points between the two teams. But I think South Africa will be 13 points ahead.
The one thing I worry about with Argentina, now that you've all made your predictions, the one thing I worry about is that I think, obviously they always push the line of discipline, but with pushing that line of discipline, they're quite a disruptive team to play against. And I think that could be something that kind of, you know, we saw it with England in the semi-final at the World Cup. They used a purely disruptive approach to almost beat us. I mean, I was in tears because I thought it was done, you know, and we managed to pull it over the line. But I think a lot of teams can learn from that English approach. England didn't have the greatest tournament leading up to the game against us, but that first 60 minutes, they just disrupted and disrupted and disrupted. And that's one of the reasons why I think Argentina could be a bit of a banana peel.
Well, they're so difficult to predict in any case, because they're so hot and cold.
Yeah.
If they pitch up and they perform, very, very tough.
Right, well, we've given our predictions, so we all think South Africa's going to win, so it doesn't matter how tough we think
Let's talk about
we think New Zealand's going to win.
We will try and remember as much of this game as possible after Saturday, because we will be at the Oktoberfest all day.
Game's at 11.
And the game's at 11, so...
reservation at the tent ends at 10.
Yeah.
How many masks do you think you're drinking?
I've been talking about this all week. It is high percentage beer, right?
Game plan for the weekend.
Purely because of budgeting reasons. Yeah. I'm kind of like, because apparently it's 15.50, I think, or 15 euros.
That's €5 cheaper than I thought it was. So that adds one more beer to my my limit that I've set myself.
No, I think anything more than 4 and you're just stupid.
I think 4 is tough, because I think also I've said to Klaus, I'm not hitching my wagon to you because you're a problem with the pace.
This is true.
You put things down in a quick space of time and then you sit there with your eyes closed. And then
this is true. This is true.
So I think...
Got to do more singing and less drinking.
If the thing is, it's from 5 to 10 hour reservation. It's 5 hours. So you do have to pace yourself. You have to go slow. I think if I go slow over that time, I think I can get to 4. But I think I won't be in a good space.
I also think because we're only getting into the tent at 5,
We're going to have
we're going to have pre-drinks
This is
around
cool.
the tents.
Oh, like pre-drinks like plain kings or what?
Gin and tonic.
No, not playing drinks.
I have a. How much do you think a gin and tonic costs at the Oktoberfest?
Do you think they make Long Island iced?
It all costs 15. Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah, so hopefully we get in somewhere to watch that game because we might not we're not be in the best state, but no one in Munich will be.
no, and I also think the good thing is I think it's one of those games that I don't know how full an Irish pub.
No, exactly.
So I think we should.
Well, I think
good.
just in general because it's an Irish pub around Oktoberfest might be full.
Exactly.
We were talking about squad depth earlier, so let's go into something that creates such amazing squad depth: the Currie Cup.
Yes.
Some hectic semi-final results there.
Put me in. I don't. This is not. I don't watch.
40 all.
40 all.
Between
Sharks versus Bulls.
Sharks and the Bulls.
I mean, I said it a couple of weeks ago. I was just sort of saying how they just toss this pill around. It doesn't surprise
Wild.
me.
Unreal.
And I think the other one was also like a 40-23 or something like that between the Lions and the Cheetahs.
33-23.
Yeah.
I saw the big boy, the prop, scored a good try.
But
Azerbaijan.
the controversial thing is they don't do the place kicking anymore to settle a draw.
What did they do?
I think for Currie Cup it's never been like that.
No, I remember there was one.
I remember Hochard winning a
I
place
remember there
kicking,
was a semi-final or a final where
Yeah.
they
But
had
that's
it.
only if the amount of tries are the same.
Yeah.
So they look at
That's dumb.
They look at is it the same score after 80 minutes? Yes. Extra time, is it the same score? Yes. Is it the same amount of tries?
That's
If
not what
no,
people want to see.
then it's place
That's
kicking.
not what people want to see. We want
They're trying to
penalty shootout. You have to choose a different kicker each time, and this is the thing Klaus
No, I
suggested,
think you
which
should
I
have a
like.
stepping contest.
This
Good
is,
step.
But this is the thing, they're trying to entice you to score more tries during the game.
Okay, but what would be better? Seeing one more try during the game?
Or
Or
seeing
like
a drop.
going back and seeing like a lock who has to now kick it from 50 meters?
Yes, that's going to be a long penalty shootout.
Because this is
No, so you have
this is
to-
what I was saying to Maxi on the weekend. I was like, why do they have penalty shootouts, but then it's just your fly half kicking?
Yeah, they shot
Surely
five
you'd say like everybody gets to kick once.
Pick your 5 best oaks, and then you have to go. What did you say? You start at the 25, and then you move back.
Yeah.
And then your best kicker has to kick from the last point. It's
Or does
intriguing
that
stuff.
strategically make sense? Because now you might
South
want your
Africa would be
best
good at that, because because of Mani, everyone was a kicker at some stage. It's like, Oaks, we have a problem here. All of you, no, not the scrum. Come, go kick.
Yeah. So I think now it's Lions versus Bulls Lions versus Sharks in the final.
Lose.
Yeah.
at Ellis Park.
Nice.
And
Sigma Lions.
something that came out of this Currie Cup, some news from Frans Steyn, who's said that he would like to take the Cheetahs down south. And I clicked on the article because I was like, where does he want to go? Like to Cape Town. And
Alberton.
he wants to take the Cheetahs back into Super Rugby. He says
Oh wow.
he would like the Cheetahs, maybe the Pumas and the Griquas to rejoin Super Rugby. He says it's not going to happen in 2025, and he said, thank God, because he wouldn't know where the money would come from. He'd have to rob a bank.
I don't know if that's going to do it, but anyway, especially
Those
not a
is
bank in
worse.
Bloemfontein.
Bank in Bloemfontein doesn't carry that much money.
Just a few Krugerrands, and that's about it.
But he says there's obviously a lot of political sidestepping to do, and it's one of those things I could never see happen, and I couldn't see why the Super Rugby would want the Cheetahs, the Pumas, and the Griquas in it. But if it were to happen, I think South Africa would be the most ideally set up country in terms of where we play our rugby, because we play club rugby in the north, club rugby in the south. Yeah.
You know what I would find interesting is if the Currie Cup would be a promotion relegation tournament to get into the URC. I think that would be quite interesting.
It was for a while in the was it the Pro 14 where the Cheetahs and the
Not for the Super 12.
no, it wasn't. It was already when we were playing up north, wasn't it? Oh no, it was Super
No,
It was
Rugby.
Super Rugby.
the
There was the
Cheetahs-
last South African team would always get relegated to the out of the Super Rugby.
Because wasn't it Cheetahs and the EP Elephants played in
The EP Kings.
The EP Kings, sorry. They played in Pro 14 before our
True.
4 franchises joined.
True. I agree with you, but it shows Frans Steyn, obviously as director of rugby, is concerned about the level of rugby that the Cheetahs are playing, because I don't think they get enough quality going. And I think the Currie Cup, and then they play the Challenge Cup in Europe. They get invited for that.
They to
Yeah.
get invited for that. Yeah.
So yeah,
So that's bizarre to me as well, but it's good. It's good, but it's bizarre.
leads into the next bit of news
Yeah.
for
Big controversy.
big controversy. Still, I think only gossip and news. URC or the English Premiership teams have met and would like to prioritize a British league, which would mean
British
the
and Irish. Yeah.
British and Irish League, which means the URC, as we know it, would disband with South African and Italian teams no longer invited to the party.
It's a very, I mean, look, there's a lot of gossip around it, but I think the one thing that's not gossip is the fact that this is what came out of the board meeting, that's what they wanted, which is just such a move, like a political power play move in the rugby landscape. I actually looked into, just to understand kind of how the URC came about, I looked into how this all happened and how everything, how the URC was formed. And it's been, in its current format since the Pro 12, it's been about 10 years now. And the way it kind of came about is that all these, the Welsh teams, the Scottish teams, and the Irish teams really couldn't force their way into the Premiership. They were sort of left out in the cold and were really forced to kind of move and create their own professional leagues. And that's what they ended up doing, forming the Pro 12 and inviting the Italian teams. And now as soon as they have this product, and this is what we were talking about as well, they have this product that has a USP and is growing in value. And if anything, is also just creating better rugby teams on the international level, particularly for Italy, Scotland, and Ireland, I would argue. Wales, but that's more internal stuff, I think. But those teams are all getting better because of it. I think we can easily see an upward trend in those sides on
The
an
South African
international level
national team, I think, has also benefited from it
as well. And it's interesting to see now that the Premiership, after all these years of telling them, now we're going to do our own thing, want a piece of the pie.
So I was watching another podcast about it, and the guy was saying that a couple years ago, the Welsh, the Irish, the Scottish, and the Italians actually approached the Premiership asking, "Can we please join? Can we have some sort of a more international club format?" And the Premiership said, "No, thank you. We are fine without you." And then they started going through some financial difficulties, and then they sold, I think, 20% of their revenue profits off to some, I think, CVC or something like that, some company, I don't know,
Probably investment firm of some kind,
for cash injection. And like the thought behind it is, well, how are they ever supposed to become profitable if a lot of their profit is just going out? And then like people stopped watching it on TV as much, and so the viewership and the TV rights didn't grow in value. And now you have this product where the URC is now combined with the South African market, and the South African market is renowned for having huge TV money. And so that's why the URC has been doing so well. Now, obviously, the English are like, well, we want a piece of the pie. But their strategy is to then annex the part of the product that is creating a large portion of the revenue, which makes no sense. So the Irish, the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Italians, they could join the Premiership or have like some sort of British and Irish, well, not the Italians, but British and Irish format. But then they back to the same problem of not having the TV money that they have from South Africa. And then they've got the problem that their product becomes less competitive because they don't have the South Africans bringing that different style of rugby to it.
I'd be very surprised if it happens. I'd be shocked if the teams in the URC, because from what I gather, it's some of the fans in European rugby aren't fans of South Africans playing in Europe. But from what it sounds like, a lot of the teams, coaches, and rugby people in Europe all think it's positive. And it's only just starting out, and it's already really gaining momentum. And all those teams already play each other on an international level for the Six Nations. So I'd be surprised if they chose a sinking ship over.
The reason that a lot of the Irish and the Welsh and the Scottish weren't a big fan of the South Africans joining is because there's no history. But the thing is, we've had 3 years now, and there are rivalries that are forming. Stormers against Munster is a big rivalry that's now formed over the last 3 years. So people get excited about that, and you sell out these stadiums in Munster when the Stormers come over. So as it grows, we'll form our own history, our own traditions, our own rivalries, and then it will get more exciting.
I think the big problem as well is that like the Premiership doesn't realize that. I think they're just also oversaturated in terms of sports and fan bases. And if you look at all these other 3 countries, arguably rugby is the biggest sport, and I think there's so much potential for growth in Ireland as well. Klaus and I were in Ireland at the beginning of August, and their Gaelic sports are so big, so big. You're filling Croke Park with 80,000, 90,000 people, but the people we were speaking to on the ground, they say that rugby is the one place where you can say we're competing on a professional level.
Right.
So I think there's so much potential also to start to grow the game within Ireland, grow the game within Scotland, grow the game within Wales. And I think you could argue that, I've watched every now and then a bit of Premiership highlights. The stadiums are small, they're still not full, by a few. And you could say that rugby is stagnating there. So I think definitely it's, if you're one of the URC clubs and the URC board, you definitely got to stay away from that.
So the URC board, the interesting thing why it's happening now is because right now, South Africa still doesn't have voting rights.
Right.
So South Africa still doesn't have voting rights in the URC board. So you've got Italy, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. Let's be honest, Scotland, they could go either way. They don't really mind. Italy, they don't really have much saying power because of where the rugby level is at. And then Wales also has no saying power.
Right.
So the only real country that can make a decision there is Ireland.
The kingmakers.
And Ireland, so from what this one guy was saying, it's traditionally from their personalities, they're not the type to go oh, well, the South Africans made a big risk coming up north. Screw it. It's not our problem. And and kill that side of the
So you're saying that
competition.
they're also not the biggest fans of English.
They're also not the biggest fans of English.
And I think that once because year on year, it seems like logistically it's starting to become a bit of a better product with teams touring more, and it's maybe less of a strain on the players who are constantly flying back and forth.
That's a big problem.
And I think that'll get better over time. So maybe that complaint will go as well.
Because even in this last season, there were guys that were traveling for 24 hours just to get to different destinations.
My biggest wish, though, is for whatever league England forms with whoever, that they please do us a favour and call it the Allianz League. The Allianz Premiership. I'm a big fan of that name. That would be...
Maybe they can get more money that way and they can survive.
I'd love it.
Let's talk about some F1 on the weekend. Azerbaijan. Piastri won it.
Piastri started in second, finished in first. He launched a crazy attack on Charles Leclerc in the first corner, and Charles just said in the statement afterwards, he's like, if I'm quite honest with you, I didn't really see it. I saw him in my mirrors, but I didn't really think he was going to come. So I kind of left the door open, not thinking he would be that gutsy and go for it. And he said, and then after that, he just really struggled to keep up and catch him.
Lando Norris with a great comeback.
Dude, from
after a massive mistake during qualifying.
Yeah.
What a blunder. What a blunder. But he did well. He went from 15th to 4th. He also played quite a lot of a team game in terms of pit stop strategy to slow down somebody, I can't remember who it was, in order for Piastri to then be able to come out ahead of them. I don't think it really harmed his race, but it still took time off of his lap times. But very, very impressive comeback. Finished ahead of Verstappen, so he eats away at that championship a little bit more. But I think with 8 races left, Verstappen has to be out of the points.
We keep saying that. We keep saying he has to throw it away, but he's
doing a very good. He's trying really hard.
He's trying really hard.
He finished, what was it, 5th then? No,
okay.
I think he finished 5th, so he's not at the back of it.
Not that far behind.
Sainz and Perez.
Big crash. Sainz and Perez.
Yeah. Nice radio comms coming up from Perez there.
What is he doing?
Is he a fucking idiot?
Well, I mean, I watched the replay of it, and it's Sainz Perez has a lot of space on the left. He did look like he has a lot of space. Sainz maybe edged him a little bit, but I mean, Perez is doing a very good job of getting rid of his seat for next year. And which is a pity because I really like him.
For a guy who could have finished 3rd, he threw that one away.
Did you see how he got out of the car and then he hit Sainz on the head? He's like, what are you doing? And then I saw a guy on Twitter saying, you don't do that. What if the guy's injured, bro? And now you're going over there, he's got an injured neck, and you go, whap!
No, you go to him first, you're like, are you okay? He's like, yes, I'm fine. Okay. You Will Smith him.
Yeah.
Good side note too, I saw that Gayton McKenzie, South Africa's sports minister, was in Baku. Yeah, meeting with the chairman of the F1.
All right.
So it looks like very concrete steps towards possibly trying to get F1 to South Africa, which is quite exciting as well.
That would be very exciting.
Yeah.
Street circuit in Cape Town.
Oh, God.
They love street circuits now.
Turpentine, bro.
I think
just straight lines.
Street circuit in Mpumalanga, see who can dodge a pothole.
Actually, street circuit in Brakpan, see who can drift the best.
Constructors Championship, McLaren now overtakes Red Bull, and surprisingly, Ferrari is not that far behind Red Bull either. So things are not going well for Red Bull. Adrian Newey also signed for Aston Martin.
Yeah.
So with what's his name, Andrew, with Horner also battling with Verstappen's dad, it seems like everything's going wrong.
So falling apart for Red Bull.
Yeah, it's huge political shifts there happening as well. So a lot of changes. I think it's going to be a bit of a watershed into the season and see what kind of jumbled up team structure comes out next year.
I wonder if we're heading into a different, Mercedes were dominant for a while, then they dropped off. Now Red Bull have been dominant. I wonder if we're going to see the next shift soon with either McLaren overtaking or Ferrari coming back. But if you're a Red Bull fan, or if you at Red Bull now, you're not exactly super confident.
I think so. If you're looking at, you're one of the people behind Audi's team coming up, I don't think they're coming next year. They're coming the year after. You must be licking your lips as well, though, because I think there's nothing worse coming into sort of a settled F1 setup and saying, "Oh, all these teams have been around forever." I think you must be really licking your lips because they're going to come into a second year of after all these teams and drivers shifting around. I think it's a nice time to be the team director there and come into the F1 for sure.
On top of that, you have the two rookies that performed pretty well this last race, with Behrman, I think, finishing.
Couldn't remember his name. Was it
just something OD at the end?
Okay,
some like Italian name. I think he finished 8th with the Williams, and then Haas finished 10th.
Nice.
So 2 rookies both finishing the points. That's pretty impressive.
That is very impressive. So I think exciting into the season. I think now that also summer's closing down here in Europe, we've had terrible weather. A little bit of a bounce back soon, but maybe we'll catch a few of the last races, which will be nice.
Next one's in Singapore, street circuit.
Oh, nice.
This weekend.
It's a night race.
This weekend.
We're not seeing that.
No, we're not going to be able
back
to.
at
But it's a night race.
back on the Wiesen.
We'll be back in a tent.
I could drive that car, really.
Yeah. Papa.
Maybe let's move on into golf. Irish Open.
Ooh, I watched a lot of that.
Yeah.
First of all, that course, we have to play there one day. Unreal. Royal County Down. Unbelievable. Also chewed some of the guys and spat them out. And it was crazy to see the inconsistency in scoring. Some of the guys would shoot +6 and then come back and shoot 2 under, 3 under the next day, make the cut. So it was insane to see the fluctuations in score. And it's one of those courses that if you just, one shot on a hole and you quickly land with a snowman. But at the end of the day, Rasmus coming out, Højgaard, and his 5th win on tour at the age of 23 and 100 and something days. Very weird because I always, his brother is Nikolai, is the one that got onto the US tour.
Yeah.
And I've always thought, but he's got 2 wins more than his brother at this stage of his career. So insane to see twins like that just dominating. It's easy to maybe look at Rory again, particularly with the year he's had, saying he might have choked. He made a couple of poor decisions, but Rasmus also made 4 birdies in his last 5 holes to go on to win, which is insane. And Rory had the eagle putt on the last. It was missed by a millimeter to tie him up and go into force the playoff. So
he looked finished in his post-match presser though.
Yeah.
He looked. I think it takes a toll on. What did he say? I think the reporter asked him, "How does it feel?" And he says, "Unfortunately, I'm getting used to it," which I think is
that's
he had like rings under his eyes. I think it's been a tough year for him.
Yeah, and I think I saw a stat that his conversion leading after the 3rd round is only 11 out of 20, the last 20, which is to me seems like a little. I don't know what other people convert, but that was the stat that they brought up. So I think he is. We always used to associate Rory with someone that really just goes on and gets the job done. And I think maybe that's just crumbling a little bit.
I would love to see someone like Rasmus stay on the European Tour, come into the Ryder Cup team and do well in the Ryder Cup team. Because I think sometimes it's a little bit overrated. Everyone going to America, and only once they're in the US on the PJ Tour, do they then come and be competitive in the Ryder Cup. I think a lot of the European Tour players are good. And by the looks of it, Jon Rahm might not make it to the Ryder Cup because he's missing. Still hasn't paid his fines. I don't think he's reached an agreement with the DP World Tour on how to get back on and play the tournaments he needs to get onto the team.
I think what you're seeing in golf now though is we really need this whole merger situation to be figured out because I think a lot of the players don't know what. one of the coolest things to come out for the DP World players is the fact that they if you finish in the top 10 on the order of merit, you get your your PGA Tour card. And for someone like Tristan Lawrence now, who looks like he's bang on to get it, he goes over in that, and the money's five times the amount.
Big,
it's just insane. I think the guys on the weekend now, they played one of the smaller events in the PGA, and I think the winner got 1.3 million or something. It's just madness.
Big money.
But I think it would be good to see if we figure it out, because I think if the merger happens and the new structures are known, players will feel more comfortable playing a few more events on the DP World Tour, knowing that their status on the PGA Tour is somehow protected still. Because I think that's the issue now. You're saying this is a gateway to get onto the PGA Tour, and that's where they want to be because that's where the money's at, and you do not want to lose that status. So I think that's maybe how we can try and figure it out a little bit.
I think for Ryder Cup purposes, though, I think live players can only be captain's picks, though, because I still don't see a world in which their golf is rated the same way that normal golf is rated, just because it's every now and then, it's 3 days, it's like there's good golfers on there, but there's also some bang average golfers on there. I think there's I don't know, in a sense of like picking them based on merit. I think it would have to be captain's picks, which I don't mind. I thought it was cool of the US to take Brooks along.
And that adds to the drama of it as well.
Then why not make all of the picks captain picks?
No, I think there should be you should get in on merit, but I think every captain needs to have like his choice on who else to bring to make a team environment. And I think the Europeans do it differently to the Americans by how many captain's picks and stuff they do.
I think the ideal world would be, and I've said this before off air, is that I think the coolest approach you could do to live golf is a kind of IPL, like Indian Premier League T20 format, where it runs very much parallel to the existing structures in cricket and in golf now in this case, and really have either over an 8-week period where the rest of the season is kind of winding down, and then have this whole showcase or show business.
Play less golf.
Right?
The reason they all said they wanted to join is because they want to play less golf.
But sure, the cool thing is, though, the guys can then choose. If they get into the live teams and they don't want to play on the other tours, that's fine. But this gives the ability to sort of create the show business effect of saying the best golfers in the world get into this exclusive, high-paced league. And then hopefully that can open up the door to say, okay, well, it kind of takes place outside of the traditional structures of golf. I think that's the issue. That's what they have to try and figure out at the moment.
Yeah. Solheim Cup was also on.
Yeah, struggle for the Europeans when you start day one off with was it 6-2 down?
6-2 down.
Just the Nelly Korda show again as well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Actually, Rose Zhang and Megan Kang were both unbeaten over the whole weekend because Charly took care of Nelly Korda on the last day.
Did you see what Golf Digest posted?
No.
There's a photo of Charlie Hull smoking, and it just said 6-4. Charlie smokes Nelly. And then there's another photo on Nelly Korda's Instagram page where she's showing the photo to Charlie, and they're both hosing themselves. So I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, but Nelly's, the first 2 days she was just unreal, and I think she had 7 shots gained on the rest of the field. Just ludicrous.
And I think it's sort of almost the exact opposite of what the American men's team was facing in the Ryder Cup. Is if you get behind that much in the first 2 days, you need to come out really hot in the singles. And I think even though the Europeans stacked the top of the field, I think they only won 2 out of the top 5 or 2 out of the top 4 matches. And then you're facing an uphill battle because you need to win 6 of those games, I think, on the last day to beat the Americans. And there's too many good golfers on that team. I really liked I saw some videos of the vibe there, and it seemed like not like in the men's competition where it can sometimes get a bit overboard with the jibes and stuff. It seemed like there was really good energy, especially on the first tee. Megan Kang really digging the vibe, fucking dancing, left the music running while she was teeing up, and I like that for those kind of events. I don't think we need live golf style golf all the time, or like the what's that?
The Waste
Management Open. It doesn't have to, but every now and then it could be quite a vibe. Which led me to a question I wanted to pose to the two of you, just out of the blue here. If you guys each could choose one etiquette rule to get rid of the game of golf to make it either more accessible or more interesting to watch, what would you get? What would you get rid of?
I mean, it wouldn't make it more accessible or more interesting to watch, but for the poor oaks who have to play in the sun, I would say let them wear shorts.
Okay, so
But
this is for the pro game. What do you think about the amateur game?
I wouldn't call myself a rules Nazi, but I do enjoy I enjoy the dress code element to it, which is strange, but I just do. I think it's become a bit more loose over the years, so I don't know if I would change that. I think I would, from a playing experience for myself, I would prefer the game to be a little less pretentious about noise and movement. I had the pleasure of playing with a guy a couple of weeks ago, who every time you moved or he had an angle, anyone was in his way, or like almost every shot he was asking me to move or my playing partner to move, and I was just such a shitty experience, because I'm like, when's the next time it slows down the game as well, because he's resetting.
Amateur golf is all about pace of play.
Yeah, and so that's, for me, I think would be the big thing. I think it would get around the pretentiousness of it. I think really the sort of...
Be kind of a fine line to police, though, because then
of course.
What stops you from shouting in a guy's backswing?
Sure. I mean, sure. But I think that's... I can't really pinpoint it to a certain rule, but in terms of a certain approach to the game.
I think I'd be similar on a line to you. I think I would relax the dress code a little bit. I think it's overdone. I think I for some reason, just like you, I think one shouldn't play golf in jeans. I just don't think it should happen. But I also don't think I don't think it should be a problem if you want to go out there in shorts and a t-shirt. I don't understand the issue. I think there can be clubs in the world where you say there's a dress code here, but I think the rest of them should scrap it. I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest though, it doesn't really get policed that much.
Not
in Germany, for example.
Not in Germany.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's, if someone told me at golf at Val that I need to dress up to go play there, I'd be like,
build some greens first, and then we'll...
My man.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
What are we talking about here? Yeah. So, okay. Just thought there'd be something, but just because some people think that golf is way too pretentious, which I think it is. It has a bad rep though, because I think if you play amateur golf in countries like South Africa, UK, America, Australia, it's not as pretentious as people think. I think there's some countries where it's still...
I think it's also a generational thing. I think, unfortunately, if you see the people that give you the most grief here in Germany are just the older generation. Yeah. And I think it's the same in South Africa. And then I think as sort of...
And it's because they shit at golf.
Also, yeah, if you can't get the ball off the ground, then I'd also be pretty miserable.
But still shoot flipping 85 and beat me by 3.
I think it's also got to do with how much golf costs, especially to play a round of golf.
Yeah.
And so you will often have your finance guys, your lawyers, your doctors, those types of people coming in.
The butts.
And I think it's more the culture that those different industries bring to the game rather than the game itself that creates that pretentious outlook.
No, for sure. Talk about some Premier League to finish up, I think.
Spurs had a cracking game. Very unfortunate last day.
I was like, where's this come from now?
No, I was reading up all about it.
Okay.
But our coach, whatever his name is, the Australian dude.
Our coach.
You just predicted them to win the league. You don't have to be a fan of them.
Our
coach. Can I just give you a tip? You know what?
Our coach has said he always wins in the second year. So high hopes. Currently, we're 4-2 down.
You've now picked the Spurs, so you have to stay with them. That's my rule in sport. But for future teams where you have to pick, try and pick a team that maybe wins something every now and then.
Every now and then.
You don't have to pick City, but,
you've hitched your wagon to
a dead donkey.
Yeah,
I know. But now I've got to...
It's like Morocco Swallows, bro. You Oaks don't have a chance, bro.
Hey?
You don't have a chance.
With what?
With this league.
Oh.
Anyway, it was...
It is what it is.
It was actually a better performance than in terms of the general play, but they just can't create chances. That's a big excuse.
Big win for Arsenal.
Yeah, also some questionable refereeing decisions. I think Jurrien Timber should have been sent off earlier in the game. Earlier in the game. But very slow up top. Son is definitely looking like he's starting to lose a bit of his spark.
And with Dominic Solanke at a 60 million, you're still not getting a 60 million pound striker like that. Like, his first touch just isn't that of a guy who should be playing at that level.
The English tax is definitely something that hit them on that signing, for sure. With him. Yeah. Some other interesting results, I think, poor Everton leading 2-0 again against Aston Villa, which is insane, at Villa Park. And Sean Dyche really seems to be getting as much as he can get out of that side, but they then ended up losing 3-2 again. Again, John Duran, the fella who scored for the team that he was supposed to move to, remember? He scored an absolute screamer to beat them 3-2. So his star's rising as well. Brighton drawing 0-0 to Ipswich. Nice result for Ipswich as well,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day,
Very
we all
good.
know staying up, you got to collect those points as
Yeah.
the season goes along.
Especially with high-flying Brighton, who were beating or drawing with everyone.
This is true. Newcastle keep ticking along. I mean, Wolves. I watched the second half of the game yesterday. Wolves really should have put the pedal to the metal. But again, they're two crazy strikes from outside the box.
Brentford came out hot against City. As well.
Yeah, and but just City getting the job done again. Haaland almost with his third hat-trick in a row. That's just madness.
Yeah.
Talk me through Liverpool.
Big win for Nottingham Forest.
Yes. So we're walking through Corfu, and I knew the game was on, but just like I think in every flippin' town in Greece now, just because there's so many Brits, we stumble upon a sports bar there, and I walk past and I see the game's on. I'm like, nah, let's go. And then we walk 20 meters further, and I'm like, guys, I think I'm just going to actually go in and watch the game a little bit. And they were like, yeah, okay, we'll come with you. Good Lord. And there was like, your typical 10, 15 Liverpool fans there, all on holiday with their families. They've all brought their Liverpool kits to watch the game.
Simikas on the back.
Yeah.
Alexander Arnold, but that was the most common one.
That international break definitely halted the momentum. And then it was just the first team that really caused us a little bit of issue. And it was the first stumbling block. And just shows you that there's still... Maybe people got a bit ahead of themselves with Arne Slot, and it was actually, in the final third, it was atrocious. The passes that were being played. I got some real in-depth analysis from Klaus and Fiona about what was going wrong there, and I said, they've pinpointed it. They've just, people aren't passing the ball right. So that it was
lots of incomplete passes.
Lots of incomplete passes, but Champions League back now.
Yeah, true.
We're playing AC Milan tomorrow. And I've played some hot bets. But first, you've won.
Yes.
Big win as well.
Yeah.
A big win.
Yeah, 3-0. Good. Actually, also a special mention to my German team, Hamburg. We won 5-0. I can't remember the last time both my teams won on the same weekend and did so convincingly. So that's really nice. Good performance. I think also, to be honest, I worry for Southampton. They came out really hot. In the first 30 minutes, they completely outplayed us, and I'm happy to admit that. But as soon as they got the penalty, and Onana made a really good penalty save, everything switched, and then they were absolutely atrocious.
Okay.
I was sitting there actually thinking to myself, we need to win this 3-4-0 because they are so bad.
Right.
That I think, if we sort of stumble to a 2-0 victory or 2-1 victory, we just don't take any momentum with us because that's how bad they were. So I do worry for them a little bit. Russell Martin looks a bit worried himself as the coach already. His first ever major coaching position, and he's trying to get Southampton through the season, which is a mean feat. But good performance. Xerxes looking really good in link-up play. Ahmad looking brilliant. Rashford getting his first goal since March, which is wild.
How did your aircraft carrier play?
What, Casemiro?
Yeah.
He was on the bench, so very
But
well.
he came on and he didn't assist. He didn't assist the goal,
Yeah.
but he pre-assisted.
Fantastic pass to Ahmad.
Good pass.
Yeah. But then we also had our little bit smaller, more nimble aircraft carrier that we've not gotten as a replacement for him. Ugarte came on, and he was on for 20 minutes. He'd only trained with the team for 20 minutes before that as well.
Okay.
And he just slotted straight in. So really nice to see. No injuries, which is nice. So let's see. We play Barnsley tomorrow in the Carling Cup. So not quite the Champions League, but we'll take it. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to just way more football. That international break was highly annoying.
It was
very
We need
frustrating.
to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Let me run you through some games in the Champions League, and you can also give your prediction, obviously. But just a quick fire prediction.
Okay.
Here. Tomorrow, Juventus PSV,
Juventus.
Young Boys Aston Villa,
Villa.
AC Milan Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yes, Klaus.
Draw.
Bayern Dinamo Zagreb.
Bayern.
Real Madrid Stuttgart.
Stuttgart. No, I'm joking.
Real
Real
Madrid.
Madrid.
Sporting versus Lille.
Oh, that's a good game.
I don't think Lille is as good as Sporting's at home.
Yeah, maybe I am Sporting. Quick question for you. What country do you think Young Boys is from? The team Young Boys. There's a bit of trivia here for you. If you get this, I will be very surprised.
Hungary.
No, they're from Switzerland. They're from Bern. Don't ask me why they're called Young Boys Bern.
Young Boys Bern.
They were started by some Rastafari.
I thought by a priest.
Oi.
Oi!
Okay.
The first edit for the
No,
podcast.
that is first class. My goodness.
My goodness. Okay.
Yes, see, out of nowhere.
we mu- Ooh, that's shaken me a little bit. I placed some bets there.
Okay.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, please
My
do.
strategy: pick the favorites and don't pick too many there.
Small gains. Small gains.
Small
I
gains.
remember having this conversation with you about a month ago where I said, "Why do you keep on betting for the underdogs?" And you're like, "No, because the margins are bigger, and then if I win, then it makes more sense." I was like, "Yeah, but the chances of them winning is obviously
But
way
every
less."
now and then, Klaus, you've
Now,
got
now
to-
he's gone completely.
You've got to believe in the romance of sport. And that's not picking the favorites all the time. Mind you, I'm picking all the favorites in this Champions League round. I've also got the Indiana Fever to win the WNBA with Caitlin Clark in it. Big odds on that.
You
But
can bet on that nonsense.
I can bet on anything. Okay, quickly through Wednesday's games. Bologna Shakhtar.
Bologna.
Bologna. Sure.
Bolognese.
What he said. Spaghetti.
Sparta Prague Salzburg.
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 Celtic Bratislava.
Celtic.
Bruges vs Dortmund.
Dortmund.
Draw.
City vs Inter.
City. Easily, I think.
Inter.
Yeah, no.
And PSG vs Girona.
PSG.
PSG. Some strange teams this year in
Yeah.
the Champions League. Interesting.
Jesus, and they play on Thursday as well. Oh my god, this is the new.
Oh, it's a new format.
Okay. What is Red Star Belgrade versus Benfica?
Benfica.
Benfica.
Feyenoord Leverkusen.
Leverkusen.
Sure. Leverkusen.
You got to shoot these out because we got to get through this list.
Go ahead.
Atlanta Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Draw.
Atletico Madrid Leipzig.
Draw.
Atletico Madrid.
Brest versus Sturm Graz.
Jeez, bizarre matchup. Sturm
You know.
Graz.
Graz.
Austrian champions, actually.
And then Monaco versus Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Draw.
Okay, nice. See if those come to fruition. All right, boys.
Gonna have a lot of points to tally there.
Let's go into, oh goodness, plays of the week there to finish up.
Plays of the week.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you guys have seen, I'll show you guys a reel, maybe I can post it in the video as well. There's I can't remember who the player was from the Lions who scored this try, but essentially he broke away, was running for the try line, and I think it was like a prop or a hooker, something like that. And he got ankle tapped, and he sort of fell, rolled, released the ball, picked it up, then got ankle tapped again, fell on his back so hard that he bounced up again, did like a backflip, and then put the ball down.
Yeah.
Unreal. The athleticism and the bounce of his back, unbelievable. I'll show you a video. It's great.
I think my play of the week has to be Højgaard's performance. I think that stood out for me.
Great finish.
Just so good. And also just that whole tournament. I think every time I see a links golf tournament, I always say that it's just the purest form of golf, and it's just so good to watch. And those players come off that course and they're knackered because it's 18 holes of concentrating. One shot, costs you so badly. So really insane to see someone make 5 birdies on that final stretch at County Down. So that's my play of the week for sure.
Yeah, mine's also from golf. Mine goes to the 2 American caddies who took their t-shirt off because they said that if they hole out, they'll take their tops off. And I think then the European captain was asked what she thought about it, and she says, sex sells, so go ahead.
No.
And then one of the European players says, that's not sex. We've got some hotter caddies on our side. So all-round great golf at the Solheim Cup.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid.
So we're back after our first digital pod, which I think had some problems, but the Greek internet is not known for being the quickest.
Especially not off the island.
We fought through it. Another good one today.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
Watching what? The Spotify screen.
This one's going up on YouTube.
There you have it.
I look so bad today.
I think my
Why don't you
pants
make
have
an
really
effort?
ridden up here today, which I've tried to... Sorry for that.
I got
There
the
you
whole
go.
patch to my jeans so that I'm not
Oh, I
revealing.
thought you had a hole. That would be fantastic.
No,
that
these
would
are-
be
these are
sex
actually-
sells.
These are actually new jeans.
So you guys, they've gotten us 100% genuine today. Because usually I'm flexing this arm. You haven't seen the old videos, but...
What flex?
Huh? Hey,
What flex?
careful now.
All right. We'll see you all next week.
Arms
Thanks for
over
tuning
here.
in.
Bye.
Bada bing, bada boom.